Welcome back to my channel Celeb Buzz. Please share and subscribe and press the bell icon for new updates. Richard Widmark really hated him. Marathon? Anyone else? Richard Widmark was born Richard Widmark on December 26, 1914 in Sunrise Township, Minnesota. He was one of the most special and long-lasting actors in American movies. His sharp eyes, tight energy, and amazing voice made him famous in movie history. He grew up in a strict Midwestern family. Widmark's childhood taught him to work hard, be tough, and stay disciplined. These things would later show in both his personality and his job. When he was a young boy, he moved with his family to Princeton, Illinois. Later, he finished school at Lake Forest College, a small art school in Illinois. At first, he wanted to become a lawyer or teacher, but his love for telling stories and acting began to grow bigger and bigger. That love finally led him toward the world of drama. Widmark's real acting job began not on movie screens, but on radio. He used his voice for different radio shows during the best time off radio broadcasting. His early time in radio helped him learn how to use his voice really well. This later became something special about his intense movie acting. He was a really good worker who never showed off. Instead, he showed deep feelings through small movements, his voice and how he acted. Even though his talents were already clear on radio and on the stage, Widmark's real big break came in the late 1940s when he started making movies. His first movie came in 1947 called Kiss of Death. This movie would change his life and shock people watching movies, playing the mean bad guy Tommy Udo, a character famous for pushing a woman in a wheelchair down some stairs. Widmark was really scary. This role got him nominated for an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor. It's instantly made him known as Hollywood's new bad guy. But even though he often played devil characters, people who worked with him said Widmark was a warm, really smart, and good man. He was very different from the characters he played. He never made violence look cool. Later, he would say he felt uncomfortable with how popular his crazy bad guy roles became, even though they made him a star. During the 1950s and 1960s, Widmark tried different kinds of roles to show he could do many things. He appeared in lots of different types of movies, detective movies, westerns, war movies, and dramas. This provided thought he wasn't just a one-trick bad guy. Some of his best movies include Night and the City, 1950, Panic in the Streets, 1950, The Alamo, 1960, and Judgment at Nuremberg, 1961. In that last one, he acted alongside famous actors like Spencer Tracy and Burt Lancaster. Widmark brought a rare, off-bung hurt in being tough to his characters. He often played men dealing with right and wrong choices, disappointed heroes, or real mixed-up anti-heroes. This made him an actor who could make people feel both scared and sorry at the same time. Widmark began to play smaller parts in movies, though he still played the main character sometimes. For example, in the 1976 British West German movie To the Devil, a Daughter, he was part of an all-star group in the 1974 movie Murder on the Orient Express, playing the person who got murdered. In the 1977 movie Roller Coaster, he played an FBI agent. And in The Swarm, 1978, he had a big supporting role in Michael Crichton's Coma, 1978, with Genevieve Ujold and Michael Douglas. He played Al Sieber in the TV movie Mr. Horn, 1979. Widmark kept appearing in lots of movies during the 1980s, again with Sidney Pollack, who directed him in the comedy Hanky Panky, 1982, with Gene Wilder. He also was in the political thriller Who Dares? Wins, 1982, and Against All Odds, 1984, with Jeff Bridges and James Woods. His last TV role was in the really good TNT movie of Cold Sassy Tree, 1989, with Faye Dunaway. Widmark's latter years were marked by quiet respect. He slowly stopped acting, appearing only in certain movies and TV shows. During the 1970s, Sand 1980 South, even in his final times on screen, like in Against All Odds, 1984. He brought serious feelings and emotion on camera. He lived a pretty private life on his ranch in Roxbury, Connecticut, enjoying books, the outdoors, and the simple fun things in life far away from the fancy parts of Hollywood. Even though he never won an Oscar, people still remembered him as one of the greatest movie actors of the 20th century. His final movie role, Camille, 1991's True Colors, ending an amazing career that lasted more than 4 decades. Richard Widmark shared a really loving and lasting partnership with writer Jean Hazelwood, a woman who had stayed by his side for more than 5 decades. Their love story began when they were in college at Lake Forest College in Illinois, where Widmark was learning his skills in Draymond public speaking, and Hazelwood was also going to school and being creative. It was a relationship built in respecting each other, smart connection, and shared beliefs. They get married in 1942, just as Widmark was beginning to try seriously for an acting career. Their relationship would get through the many hard times and good times of life in public eye. For 55 years, the couple kept a pretty private and steady life away from much of the Hollywood spotlight. This was rare among other people in the entertainment business. Together, they had one child, a daughter named Anne Heath Widmark. She got her parents' creative spirit. Anne tried her career in the arts, both as an artist and a writer, making her own identity separate from her father's fame. Her marriage to famous baseball pitcher Sandy Koufax in 1969 got media attention, bringing together 2 well-known American people from very different areas, Hollywood and Major League Baseball, even though their marriage ended in divorce in 1982. The marriage stayed a notable part of both of their lives. Riel, proud of his daughter. Widmark showed his love and respect for her by naming his movie production company Heath Productions in her honor, Heath being Anne's middle name. This gesture was more than just a symbol. It was a personal gift that showed how important family was to Widmark, even as he stayed committed to his demanding acting career. Widmark's world changed in March 1997 when Jean Hazelwood, his beloved wife of more than half a century, died after a long and difficult fight with Alzheimer's disease. Her sickness had made their final years together really sad, and Widmark stayed evident to her during her decline. People said he cared for her with gentleness and patience. The loss was really deep and marked the end of a time in his life, not only of marriage, but also of a lifelong friendship and share a journey. After 2 years of being a widower in 1999, Widmark married again, this time to Susan Blanchard, a well-known rich person, an important person in fancy American cultural circles. Blanchard brought with her infamous family history as the daughter of Dorothy Hammerstein and the stepdaughter of Oscar Hammerstein II, the famous songwriter and librettist of Rodgers and Hammerstein musical team. Her background in the theater and high society gave her a special understanding of the world Widmark had long lived in. She was also no strange to the world of famous marriages, having been married before to famous actor Henry Fonda as his 3rd wife. With Susan, Widmark found friendship and support in his later years as he slowly stopped appearing in public and focused, enjoying the end of his amazing life and career. Their marriage was a respectful and graceful final chapter for Widmark, a man who had a wise valued loyalty, being private and emotional depth both on screen and off. Among the many actors Richard Widmark met over the course of his long and famous Hollywood career, none seemed to make him angry, quite like Vector, mature. Even though Widmark was widely known as a professional, disciplined editor who brought intensity and smartness to every role he played, made no secret of his dislike for mature, a feeling he suppositized on many occasions, sometimes with blunt honesty. Like Thingry rivalries often made up bitabloids, Widmark's hate for mature wasn't based on competing for roles or a public scandal, but rather on what Widmark saw as a complete lack of seriousness in Mature's way of acting. He saw Mature, known more for his handsome movie star looks than his acting skills, as everything hated in Hollywood, being fake, being lazy, and a casual attitude toward the craft of acting that Widmark had spent his life respecting. Victor Mature, for his part, never claimed to be a great actor. In fact, infamously put down his own talents, saying, "I'm not an actor." And he've got 64 films to prove it. While many people found Mature's self-making fun of himself more charming, saw Itas making fun of the profession. Holden, understand how someone with such a big movie career could carelessly ignore the discipline and seriousness of the work. To Widmark Hohad, trained on the stage and brought a simmering psychological depth to roles like the giggling crazy person Tommy Adoin Kiss of Death, 1947, Mature's attitude seemed like an insult not only to him personally, but to the entire tradition of serious screen acting. According to reports from the movie set, Widmark found Mature's behavior really annoying. While Widmark stayed focused and committed to the role, Mature was casual, lighthearted, and often joked around even. During scenes that needed tension and intensity, Widmark supposedly felt that Mature didn't take the movie or his own performance seriously, which made him even more sure that Mature was a fake, getting by on looks and charm rather than effort and talent. Widmark, known for his blunt honesty, didn't keep his opinions private. In interviews, Hezima times took shots at actors, Hefelt didn't. Deserve their fame, and Mature's name was one he often brought up. Widmark once said of him, "He waste kind of actor who just showed up, hit his mark, and said his lines." Anthon went home to play golf, to someone like Widmark, who spent hours studying scripts, research counteracts, and looking into the emotional diffs of each role. That kind of lazy attitude was not only offensive, it was unforgivable. It wasn't just about technique or being professional. Widmark saw Mature as a symbol of Hollywood's increasing use of MO over substance. In a time where studios often cared more about good-looking stars over skilled performers, Widmark feared that actors like Mature were mocking serious cinema get worse faster. While Mature's movies were box offices, Widmark dismissed them as empty shows lacking in emotional or smart depth. To him, Mature wasn't just a bad actor. He was a walking example of a broken system. Even though Mature's friends and fans might argue that he brought charm, humor, and a certain regular guy quality to his roles, especially in biblical epic movies and film noir classics, those qualities meant little to Widmark. For him, acting was a sacred calling, and Victor Mature was simply a disrespect of that ideal. Their opposite philosophies, personalities, and working styles clashed so strongly that it's no wonder Widmark thought of him with such intense dislike. In fact, among all his work friends and even his enemies, it's telling that Widmark supposedly, how do you know, one more than Victor Mature. Richard Widmark passed away on March 24, 2008 at the age of 93, bringing to a close one of the most lasting and impactful careers in the history of American movies. He died at his longtime home in the quiet, pretty town of Roxbury, Connecticut, a place he had loved for decades as a safe place from the spotlight of Hollywood. Widmark's death was the result of a long decline in health that had bothered him for several years. Even though the actor had stayed mentally sharpened, intellectually curious into his 90s, his physical condition slowly got worse, especially after he had a serious fall in 2007. That incident marked a turning point. His health, the problems from Thefall greatly sped up his physical decline and left him increasingly weakened, needing care. Widmark's final years were spent mostly alone, surrounded by a small circle of family, his friends, and caregivers who respected his desire for privacy. Despite his fading strength, he kept his dry wheat and his passionate opinions about politics, art, and movies, topics he had always spoken about with excitement. People closest to him noted that he stayed gracious and thoughtful during his final months, often remembering his long life, his early days as a radio actor, his famous screen debut in Kiss of Death, 1947, and the many legendary co-stars he had worked with throughout his career. When Widmark died, nice things poured in from across the entertainment industry, with actors, directors, and movie historians recognizing not only his memorable performances, but also his honesty, intelligence, and refusal to follow Hollywood cliches. True to his modest and quiet nature, Widmark did not want public celebration in death. His funeral was a private event attended by close family members and a few trusted friends, in keeping with the quiet dignity with which he had lived. He was buried in the peaceful Roxbury Center Cemetery, a calm, final resting place just a short distance from his beloved home. The cemetery, sitting among rolling hills and centuries-old trees, shows the same sense of calm and bung-rooted that Widmark seemed to find in the Connecticut countryside. His grave, marked with a simple headstone, remains a place of quiet trembling. For those who admired not only his talent on screen, but also his realness and character off it, even after his death, Richard Widmark's legacy continues in the many powerful performances he left behind and in their respect of generations of actors, and movie lovers who continue to be inspired by his work. Richard Widmark's lasting legacy in the motion picture industry is cemented by his star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, located at 6800 Hollywood Boulevard. This special honor represents not only recognition of his huge contributions to cinema, but also a lasting testament to the impact made on audiences and filmmaker sale. The Hollywood Walk of Fame, which celebrates the most influential and famous figures in entertainment, includes Widmark among its ranks, recognizing his career that lasted over 5 decades. From his breakthrough role in Kiss of Death, 1947, where his chilling portrayal of Thevalane Tommy Udo earned him immediate praise, to his numerous roles in dramas, thrillers, and westerns, Widmark consistently showed his remarkable range and compelling screen presence. His name carved into this famous stratoff, Hollywood not only honors his talent, but also preserves his memory for future generations who walk the boulevard and learn about the legends who shaped Hollywood's golden era. Further making solid his status as an icon of the Western genre, Widmark was put in 2002 into the Western Performers Hall of Fame at the National Cowboy and Western Heritage Museum located in Oklahoma City. This place is dedicated to celebrating the men and women who have contributed significantly to the story-sand artistry of the American West, whether through movies, television, music, or literature. Widmark's being put into this Hall of Fame highlights his important role in making the Western genre popular during the mid-20th century, a time when these movies captured the American imagination and helped define cultural ideals of tough individualism and frontier justice. His performances in classic westerns such as Judgment, At Gunpoint 1956, The Alamo 1960, and The Long Ships 1964 showed not only his acting versatility, but also his ability to overcome the complex heroes undaunted heroes that have become staples of genre. Being honored alongside other legendary Western performers places Widmark among the elite, reflecting the respect and admiration he earned within the Pacific movie community. Widmark's influence went beyond borders and cultures, as evidenced by a fascinating connectee in the 1960s with a young Rodrigo Duterte, who would later become the president of the Philippines. During his high school years, Duterte listed Richard Widmark as his idol in his yearbook, a personal testament to Widmark's broad appeal and the inspiration he provided to audiences around the world. This detail highlights how Widmark's performances reached beyond American cinema, getting into the hearts and minds of people in vastly different situations and countries. It's the fact that a future national leader admired speaks to the actor's magnetic presence and the universal themes his roles often explored: courage, justice, and moral complexity. It also shows how popular culture figures can influence individuals far beyond the entertainment industry, shaping their values and hopes in deep ways.